Sometimes at the end of the day, I like to come into the chicken run and be among the chickens and turkeys and soak it in. And just hang out with them. What do you think? Is that a good idea? I think it is. I think we might get a new round of chicks. Okay. By that point, you're going to have your barn dominium ready, right?
Yep. And it'll have its own little slip off to the side or park it in the shop. And
I'm on tenterhooks, my friends. I'm ready for this to happen. Welcome back to the Modern Yeoman. I'm Sean, the Modern Yeoman, and we are expecting our first child really any day now. Holly is 37 weeks pregnant now, as of yesterday, and the watch is on for the arrival of little Henry. I spent the earlier part of this morning building his dresser, as well as a rocker, like a glider, for Mama, for Holly. As you can probably imagine, thoughts of little Henry have dominated our time. What we've been working on, just trying to prepare, me trying to wind things down at work for some paternity leave and more work on the homestead. But right now, I wanted to get out of the house. It's kind of a muggy September afternoon, and I'd like to work on a project with Nana Jana. We need to park the tractor in here, which I'll have some more updates on the tractor here in a second. But we want to park the tractor in here because right now it's taking up one of the stalls in our carport, one of the stalls that Nana Jana could be parking her car in. But in order to park the tractor in here, I want to hang this line that goes out to the pig run, this electrical line, up here on the frame so we can move things in and out of here without this line always getting in the way. Let's work on that. I think it'll be a nice, fun little project. Shouldn't be too hard. Shouldn't take us too long, but it will make things a lot easier. And like I said, we'll get to it later, give us a chance to check in on our friend Old Blue, the tractor. So I just found Nana Jana. She's been working on the garden a bit. I have to admit, gardening has not been top of mind for us here at the Yosted these past few months. It kind of went on the back burner just because there was so much other stuff going on while we weren't even paying attention. Nana Jana, you've been working on some projects out here, right?
well, I've been cleaning up this overgrown grass, and I must say I clean up a bed pretty good.
Yes, you do. So this used to look like this.
Yeah.
As you might know, we have always had a problem with Bermuda grass, weeds growing in our beds. And we've tried a lot of different things to deal with them. But it seems like the only thing that really works is getting in and removing each piece of grass by the root.
Yep, get down, get those roots, get them cleaned out, and it's a lot of elbow grease, a lot of work.
It is, and you've started doing it in this bed.
Yes.
And you can already see your progress. This, you've removed all the roots of these weeds.
I'm just kind of moving it over and cleaning it, and then move some back and clean the middle.
Number one, thank you. But number two, I'm curious. I've never even asked you, what did you start growing here? What are these?
Oh, just some fine. It's way too late in the season to even hope for anything about that. But I took some of the yellow squash seeds, threw them a little starter, and they made some little plants. So since I got this bed cleaned out, we just threw them in there just to see what they'd do.
So this is an experiment.
Yeah.
This over here is not an experiment. This is another bed that you cleaned up.
Yes.
And you put, I guess, cold weather greens in here.
Yes, we got some mustard greens and everything, but this arugula down here is just
popping.
Yes, and it's totally from the seeds from the previous round of plants we had. These were just,
And these are doing very successful. And in terms of weeds, very little. Again, compare it with the beds that we haven't had a chance to clean out. So, Jana, thank you. That's awesome.
You're welcome.
In the meantime, I was telling these good folks that we want to get your car in the carport, get that tractor out of there. And in order to do that, we've got some work over there that we can do. So why don't we go take a look?
Let's do it.
Also, update, the grain that you've been getting every week has been coming in good.
Yep.
And the pigs have been loving it. And we've been able to get a pretty steady supply. So we've just been keeping it in the bucket.
Yeah.
I mean, it stays moist, but we go through it quick enough to where mold hasn't been a problem. We've been
Yeah.
doing this now for 3 weeks.
Yep.
And
Yeah,
mold
it's
has
gonna
not
be
been an
fine just
issue.
like that. Yep.
You got some for the chickens there?
Yes.
Let's see. I like it.
Pretty well.
Tick, tick, tick. Tick, tick. Here they come.
Files. Everybody don't fight over it. Y'all go find your spot away from the spider. Come on.
Okay, so I don't think this will be that big of a deal. The question is, do we want to, so I was saying earlier, we essentially want to take this line and affix it up here to this post, run it along here, drop it down this post right here, probably right here, and then let it run out, which shouldn't be a big issue. But the question is, do we want to use livestock staples, which are essentially U-shaped nails, or do we want, you had mentioned something about zip ties so we could take it off easier.
Yeah, it's just gonna be a temporary thing, so
What I could do is just get some big old nails,
you know if they have to be big, but yeah.
and then we can slam a few in there and then get some zip ties and just zip it up, and that's it. That shouldn't be that hard. And then it's starting a tractor. There's my good old friend, the metal shed. One of my very first projects here at the Yosted. I'm going to grab a couple of these giant nails. I shouldn't need too many of them. That definitely ought to do. And I think I have my big old sledge in the barn. I'm going to use my mini sledge to hammer these guys up. Okay, mini sledge. Zip ties, zip ties, zip ties. There we go. Let's go. First thing we're going to want to do, turn this off, just in case. Unplug it. Right? Yeah. We should only need maybe 2 per section, right? Probably one right here for sure.
Just gonna zip tie it to the nail itself.
That's
Okay,
the plan,
just
yeah.
the plain and simple of it.
Doesn't need to be
Fancy or
fancy, just
kind
tight.
of kind of a holding point.
There we go.
Sweet.
Easy. So the reason we're not doing these permanently like I did with my grounding rod wire, you can see I used livestock nails for these, is because I may very well want to change the direction of this wire in the near future. This is just a temporary assessment, or a temporary spot for it, so we can move the tractor in and get stuff in and out of here. So this is just temporary. That's why we're doing the zip tie.
Shooting with this, we don't even really, well, yeah, stay safe. Keep the power off.
Because I want to run it down here. Actually, there's already a nail here.
Sweet.
That's convenient. Sweet. That's it. That's all we need to do.
All right.
At this point, I think it's safe to plug this baby back in and turn it back on. That should turn green. Boom.
Go.
Boom. So I'm walking down into the pig paddock. Gonna give the fence a check just for grinsies to make sure that everything's connected the way it should be. We're actually gonna be moving their fence again here soon. To those that have asked, they're not in the flood zone anymore. They're in the woods, but they're not in the flood zone. The flood zone is this lowest part right here that went through where they used to be, but now they're on higher ground. So even when we do get a lot of rain, which we did actually this morning, they're not in the zone. Right, boys? Let's check on this. Okay, it's not hitting super hard. It could hit harder. Okay, that's hitting at 4. That's fine. It's hitting at 4,000. which is plenty. That'll sting them. That'll make them hurt. So we're good. So the chickens have really cut down on their laying. We get anywhere from 4 to maybe 8 or 9 on a good day eggs, which for having 20 chickens, that's not cutting it. And part of this is seasonal, I know, but part of this is due to the fact that a lot of these chickens are about 2 years old now. So I know we're having a baby soon, but in the next few weeks, I think we might get some baby chicks, actually. What do you think? Is that a good idea? I think it is. I think we might get a new round of chicks and maybe call some of the older hens, at least the ones that aren't producing, just so we can start getting more eggs again. We haven't talked about the tractor in a little while, but we've done some work to it, right, Jana? There's a new fuel filter in there, new air filter, and we ran a lot of seafoam through the tank. So we surmised that the issue with this tractor, those of you that have watched us before knew we had troubles with the fuel system in this tractor. So new fuel filter. New air filter, which is unrelated, but seafoam in there, and we're going to get the oil filter changed, which is just something you should do regardless.
Yes, it definitely needs an oil change.
And new oil filter, but the problem is it still has trouble when you put loads on it. It still has trouble running and staying running. It won't idle, like it'll just peter out. So we think it still might need some more work, but regardless, we're going to move this thing over there. So hopefully, fingers crossed, it'll do that for us. I think it will. It's been running every day with no problems, right?
Yeah, the startup and run is good. I've been lifting the front and the back.
So let's start her up. Home for a little while, I think. Jenna just said the tractor's in the barn. where a tractor should be. And I agree. This tractor should be here, not in a carport. Yeah, this looks good. And I can tinker on it more under here. And we've got all that space in the carport. Until we get new animals that might live under here, maybe the next round of piglets next year, this can just hang out here for a while.
It can.
By that point, you're going to have your barn dominium ready, right?
Yep. And it'll have its own little slip off to the side or park it in the shop. And
that's right.
Yep, we'll have more options by then.
Awesome.
Yay.
Well, thank you, Jana.
Thank you, Sean.
Here we go.
Yay.
Nice.
Another great day on the farm.
Another great day on the farm. Sometimes you done? You done? Sometimes at the end of the day, I like to come into the chicken run and be among the chickens and turkeys and soak it in. Just hang out with them. They're usually very curious about my presence. But it's peaceful in here. Obviously, when Fighter's attacking me, it's not as peaceful. But usually he gets it out of his system. There you go, thank you. And he lets me be. It's a very peaceful place to be. Among my birds, among my poultry. We're gonna be harvesting these boys here pretty soon. Well, pretty soon is relative. By Thanksgiving and Christmas. And they're heavy. I picked them up today. I picked one of them up today because he was limping. He stopped limping, which is good. But he was limping. I think he had something on his foot. And I picked him up. Heavy. 40 pounds maybe? I mean, it was a heavy bird. One of these toms. And of course, when you harvest them, you got to factor in all their guts are going out, their head and their claws and stuff, so, and their feathers, so they'll be a lot less heavy. It's still heavy birds, so I need to do some research on how exactly I'm going to process them. I don't think they're going to fit in the killing cones. The female turkey hens, they'll be able to fit in the killing cones, but the toms, definitely not. I may need to get a good old-fashioned axe and a stump to process them because they're big birds. But they're going to be a lot of meat for our family, for me and Holly and little Henry, Nana Jana, Mom and Dad, the whole gang. You guys are going to feed them, and we're very thankful to you for that. Like I said in a previous video, the videos are kind of scattershot right now with the approach of little Henry's birthday, which we're very excited, nervous about, but I really enjoy doing this. And if there's a more vlog, talkative style to the videos, it's because I've got my hands full. I'll be taking a month off of work once little Henry arrives. And there's some plans I have to get some things done here on the homestead. Obviously, processing these turkeys is one. There's some other things that I think you guys might be interested in that we're pretty excited about. I think the biggest thing, though, is the build of Nana Jana's barn dominium, which I think a lot of folks are going to be interested in that. We're certainly interested to see how that process goes. We should be getting the results from the soil test by next week. I think I told you guys earlier that things are looking good on that front. The soil scientist gal, she was very optimistic about it, but we still have to wait on those results. And then I think everything else is, from what the contractors were telling us, pretty smooth sailing. Wanted to check in with you guys, show you life on the Yeostead for another week. I'm on tenterhooks, my friends. I'm ready for this to happen. So keep up with us, and until we see you again next time, remember, as always, slowly, slowly.